So Jai Hind to all of you. The lecture topic is op-amp basics, and this topic has been taken from the subject Fundamentals of Electronics and Engineering. Subject code is BEC 201. Currently this subject is running in the syllabus of AQTU. So first the question arises that what is the difference between the op-amp and the BJT. So BJT, generally a common emitter configuration, is used as a amplifier. So here we apply the input between the common base and the emitter, and output is taken at the collector side in case of common emitter configuration. So here we can see the input is applied at only one end, and the op-amp amplify the difference between the two signals. So it is basically a difference amplifier. If we can see that this is a symbol for the op-amp, this triangle, and inside this triangle we have a two common emitter transistor, like in this way. So here we apply the input V1, here we apply the input V2. So this is VCC, this is minus VE, and this is RE. So this is our V1, this is our V2. So this is one common emitter configuration, this is another common emitter configuration, and at the base of one common emitter we have applied the V1 and here V2. So output is taken at the collector side, and this is V01 and V02. So this is basically a difference amplifier. So op-amp is designed by using multiple difference amplifiers. Op-amp, the definition of the op-amp is a high gain directly coupled difference amplifier. High gain means because the gain of this op-amp is very high in comparison to the BJT, and there are number of difference amplifiers cascaded in the op-amp. That's why it is called a multi-stage. And like the gain of this difference amplifier is A1, and another difference amplifier gain is A2. So overall gain of this op-amp will be A1 multiplied by A2. So the benefit of that op-amp is a difference amplifier is that it can reject the noise in the signal. Like we have op-amp plus is the non-inverting input and minus is the inverting input. So this is V2 and this is V1. Gain is A. So output is A0 V1 minus V2. So if there is a noise is introduced at the input end, means like here noise is there and also here noise is there. So at the output we can see the output will be A times of V1 plus noise, and after that minus V2 minus noise. So we can see this noise will be cancelled out in this case. So this is the benefit of using the difference amplifier, means the noise will be introducing at both ends V1 and V2. So this noise will be cancelled out at the output. So difference amplifier, this op-amp basically it amplifies the differential mode signal and it rejects the common mode signal. So this is the symbol for the op-amp. Like IC741 is generally used for the op-amp, and the pin diagram of the IC is like pin number 1 is offset null, and pin number 2 is inverting input, pin number 3 is non-inverting input, and pin number 4 is VCC minus. After that pin number 5 is offset null, pin number 6 is output, pin number 7 is VC plus, and pin number 8 is no connection. So this is the pin diagram for IC741. So this V plus, it indicates the pin number 7, it indicates the pin number 4. So this is the symbol for the op-amp. Pin number 1 and pin number 2. So here this will be the pin number 3 and this will be the pin number 2. So this is the pin diagram for the IC741 that I have drawn in the last slide. This IC is called the 741 because it has a 7 functional pins. Means like this 8 pin not connected. This is not a functional pin. This pin is kept here only for making the symmetry, like 4 pins here, so 4 pins must be here. That's why this pin has been used, and there is no significance of using this pin. So and 4 pins are input pins, like this is the input pin, this is the input pin, and these are the input supply pin. These pins are with the voltage at like minus 15 volt plus 15 volt. This voltage we have to apply across the op-amp. So to provide the biasing to the transistors, there are transistors that are used in the op-amp for making the difference amplifiers. So if we do not apply these minus 15 or plus 15 at these pins, and if we are giving input here, then there will be no output because the transistors in the op-amp are not biased. So this is very important to give this 15 volt and minus 15 volt at the pin number 4 and pin number 7. So output can be seen at the pin number 6. So we can design any inverting amplifier, non-inverting amplifier, adder or subtractor by using this pin, this IC 741. So this is the application of the op-amp in open loop configuration. Means we can use the op-amp. This is the circuit for the op-amp as a non-inverting amplifier, because we can see the inverting end is grounded and the signal has been applied across the non-inverting input. So if we have given the signal in this way, so here the output will be in this way. Here the gain is A. So here this is Vi. So output would be equal to A times of Vi. Amplified output will be there. So, and here this is the inverting amplifier because Vi is applied at the inverting input and positive input is grounded. So here input is there, so it will be here 180 degree phase shift will be there in case of inverting amplifier. So it will be in this way. So and this is for the, see how we can use the op-amp in different way. Like this is a single ended input. We can see this is minus is grounded and the input has been applied at the positive end, and here the input has been applied at the negative end. So this is our non-inverting amplifier and this is our inverting amplifier, and this is basically double ended input, means we have applied V1 and V2 at both ends, positive and negative, means at inverting and non-inverting end both. So this is working as a subtractor or a difference amplifier. So here this is V1, this is V2. So output would be equal to A times of V1 minus V2. After that, common mode operation. So common mode operation means like we have applied same input at both ends, like at plus we have applied V1, at minus we have applied V1. So output would be equal to A times of V1 minus V1. So ideally the output must be 0 if we have applied same input at both ends. So output must be 0. But this is not the case. This is the case only with the ideal op-amp. And in case of the ideal op-amp, if we applied both inputs same V1 and V2, then output will be 0. But due to the mismatch of the transistors, like we have seen that op-amp is basically a difference amplifier. It like in this way, this is the structure of the difference amplifier. We have applied V1 here, we have applied V2 here. This is VEE minus, this is VCC plus. So here we have obtained the output. So basically these two transistors are identical. If these two transistors are identical, means their beta value is same, their doping level is same, the RC value, collector resistance that we are using, it is same, this RE must be same. So everything, these two transistors are perfectly matched. Only in that case, if we apply V1 and V2 equal, then output would be 0. But this is not the case in the practical op-amp. In practical op-amp, these two transistors cannot be perfectly matched. So output this V01 here and here V02, it will not be same. So it will not be V01 minus V02 would not be 0. So this is the how this differential amplifier works. So this is our common emitter configuration. So if we are giving input here, output will be in this way because common emitter provides the 180 degree phase shift. And here if the input is in this way, the output will be like in this way. So here we can see V01 and V02 will also be in 180 degree phase shift. So the resultant will be the subtraction of these two outputs. So, so this is if we are giving the two inputs here, both inputs V1 and V2, and we are taking the output at V01 and V02, then it is called the dual input balanced output. Then it is called dual input balanced output. And if we are applying both inputs and taking output at only one end, then it is called the dual input and unbalanced output. And if we are giving the single input and taking output at both ends, then it is called the single input and balanced output. And if we are giving the single input and taking output at only one end, then it is called the unbalanced output. So this is the 4 types of configuration of difference amplifiers that are possible. In op-amp, generally dual input balanced output and dual input unbalanced output is used. If we see the block diagram of the op-amp, the first stage, that is the input stage, it includes the dual input balanced output difference amplifier, and in second stage, that is the intermediate stage, dual input unbalanced output is used. So this is how we can use the op-amp in different modes. Like if we apply two different signals at the op-amp, plus minus, this is V1, this is V2. So and output in that case, this V1 minus V2 would be equal to differential mode input. And here the output due to this mode would be V0 would be equal to AdVd, where Ad is the gain in the differential mode gain, means the gain of the op-amp in differential mode. When two inputs are applied, then what will be the gain? And common input means if we apply same input plus minus, this is V1, this is V1. We have applied same input. So in this case, the output must be 0 in ideal case, but practically it is not happening. So here the common mode gain is AC, and common mode input is calculated by taking the average of these two, and now the output would be AC multiplied by VC. So total output due to the differential mode gain and due to the common mode gain would be equal to AdVd plus AC VC. After that, opposite polarity inputs means if we have given the V1 and V2 different, like V1 is V1 opposite polarity is input, V1 is Vs and V2 is minus Vs. So what will be happening in this case with the output? So we can calculate the Vd value, V1 minus V2, it would be 2 Vs, and for Vc value, V1 plus V2 divided by 2. So it will be Vs minus Vs by 2. It will be 0. So here we can see total output AdVd plus AcVc would be 2 Vs multiplied by Ad, because here Vc is 0. So here output will be only due to the differential mode gain, and due to the common mode gain it will be 0. So if the same polarity inputs are there, like if we have V1 is Vs and V2 is also Vs, then in that case Vd will be V1 minus V2, it will be 0. So and Vc would be equal to Vs plus Vs divided by 2. So it will be Vs. So total output would be equal to, in this case, AC multiplied by Vs. So in this case, if we have the same polarity inputs, the differential mode output will be 0. After that, op-amp gain. So till now we have seen the open loop configuration of the op-amp. Open loop configuration means that we have not applied any feedback to the op-amp. So in open loop configuration, in ideal op-amp, the voltage gain is infinite. So the limitation of the open loop configuration is the the gain is infinite. So if we apply a very small voltage, like in 1 microvolt, the output will be in saturation. Means output, since the gain is infinite, so output will be at maximum output will be there in case of minimum input, that is 1 microvolt. Or we can apply any input, 10 microvolt, 1 millivolt, 10 millivolt. So output will be at the maximum level, and that maximum level is limited by the supply. That supply that we applied across the op-amp, that is like 15 volt, 15 volt and minus 15 volt. So in the open loop configuration, if we apply input here, and for maximum value or the minimum value of the input, the output will always be in saturation. And then saturation value is VCC, plus VCC and minus VCC. Means if we have applied 15 volt as a supply to the op-amp, so output will be at saturation level, that will be 15 volt. So here in open loop configuration, we cannot use the op-amp as an amplifier, because the gain of the op-amp is fixed, that is infinite. So output is not flexible. We cannot change the output. It is always be at saturation level. So we cannot use op-amp as an amplifier in open loop configuration. That's why we switch into the closed loop configuration. In closed loop configuration, what we do, we take some part of the output and returns back to the input side. So generally the negative feedback is done. Negative feedback means some part of the output is taken from the output and it is given to the negative input of the op-amp. Because negative input increases the stability of the output and also it decreases the gain. So because the gain is already at infinite, so we required to decrease the value of the gain, so that we can make the gain flexible and we can control the output. That is always at saturation in case of the open loop configuration. And if we give the positive feedback, means the output taken from the feedback taken from the output and it is given at the positive side, that will be your positive feedback. So positive feedback again increases the gain, and gain is already at infinite. So like in case of the oscillator, positive feedback is used, but for designing any amplifier, always negative feedback is used. So that's why closed loop configuration is preferred. Now this is a concept for the virtual ground. This is the closed loop configuration, means we have taken the output from here, and with the help of this feedback resistor RF, we have given this back to this point. So this RF and R1, R1 is the input resistance or RF is the feedback resistance. So but generally these resistance are used for if we change the value of this RF and R1, we can change the gain of the op-amp in closed loop configuration, and in open loop it was fixed already. Ideal case it was infinite. So what is this virtual ground? Virtual ground means the node in a circuit which is at a ground potential, but it is not actually connected to the ground. Like this point in a point in this circuit is at virtually ground, but this point is not actually connected to the ground. This point we can see it is connected to the ground, and due to this point the potential at this point will also be 0. So this A point is called the virtual ground in this case. Why it is at 0 potential? Because we know in case of the ideal op-amp, the input resistance of the op-amp is infinite. So this is the input resistance of the op-amp, RIN, and this is infinite. Infinite means this path is open. So that's why there is no current flowing in this part. So there is no current flowing in this part. That's why the voltage difference between these 2 points is 0. If this voltage difference is 0, it means the potential at here and the potential at here will be same. That's why if it is connected at 0, the potential at here will also be 0. By chance, if it is connected with 4 volt, the potential at A will be 4 volt due to the virtual ground concept. So first reason is that the input impedance of the op-amp is infinite, and the second reason is that the voltage gain is infinite in case of the ideal op-amp. So if voltage gain is infinite, we can find A is equal to V naught upon Vd. So A is infinite, so Vd is 0. So Vd is V1 minus V2 is 0. V1 would be equal to V2. So in that case, V1 would be equal to V2. So this is what is called the virtual ground. Now this is the inverting amplifier. So we can derive the gain in the case of the inverting amplifier with the help of virtual ground concept. So here we can see this terminal is grounded. That's why the potential at this point would be equal to 0. And in ideal op-amp does not draw any current. That's why all the current that is coming here, it will pass through here. So we can find out this current V1 minus 0 upon R1 and 0 minus V naught upon RF. So on further solving this, we can find V naught is equal to minus RF upon R1 and V1. So this is the output in case of an inverting amplifier. So this derivation I have done in the previous slide. So we can see the output is coming as minus RF upon R1. So output is negative. It means there will be a 180-degree phase shift in the input and output. Means if we are giving the input in this way, the output will be in this way. So this is for the inverting op-amp. The inverting operation amplifier configuration is one of the simplest and most commonly used op-amp technologies. So this derivation we have done in the previous slide, and now for the non-inverting operational amplifier. So here this is the diagram for the non-inverting operational amplifier. We can see this V out is there and it is feedback to the input side. Minus side there is a negative feedback here. and at positive we have applied the input signal. So we can apply the, we can draw this diagram in a more simpler way, like in this way, minus plus. So this is like in this way, and plus we have applied the input voltage. This negative we have done the ground, and this is like in this way. So we can see that this point is at Vi potential. So this is current I1, this is current IF. I1 is 0 minus Vi upon R1 and Vi minus V0 upon RF. So on further solving we can have 1 plus RF upon R1 multiplied by Vi. So this is the gain output voltage in case of a non-inverting amplifier. So this derivation I have done in the previous slide. After that, the voltage follower. So voltage follower is another application of the op-amp in closed loop configuration, and this is generally designed with the help of the non-inverting amplifier. Like non-inverting amplifier, we have minus, plus. So we have like the structure of the non-inverting amplifier is just like in this way, RF, R1, and this is grounded. After that, we have given the Vi here. So this is the structure for the non-inverting amplifier. So in non-inverting amplifier, and if we put RF is 0 and R1 infinite, so this structure will be changing into like in this way, like in this way. Means this will become short. This structure will become short because RF has 0, and this will become open. This will become open, and here Vi is there. So this structure again it will converted into like in this way. This is Vi and this is V0. So this is called a voltage follower. Means here output voltage, if we see, the output voltage is V1 plus RF upon R1 multiplied by V1 in case of the non-inverting amplifier. So we will put the value of RF 0. So it will be V0 would be equal to Vi, or we can say V0 upon Vi is equal to 1. So this is this circuit. This circuit is also called as a voltage follower because output voltage follows the input voltage, and also the gain of the output voltage and input voltage, it will be 1. So that's why it is called as the unity follower and the voltage follower, unity gain follower and the voltage follower. So so if we can see here the output and the input voltage both are same. If these both are same, so why we are using this circuit here? Because this circuit act as a buffer in the analog circuits, and it also act as a delay in the digital circuits. Like we have different gates here. So like so here 2 gates are there. One signal is coming from like in this way. It is passing through. So we can see this is the A signal and B signal, and this is passing through this gate. We can see A signal is coming through 2 gates, and then it is coming in this gate, and B signal is passing only through this gate, and after that reaching at this gate. So we can see the propagation delay will be more in case of A signal, and propagation delay will be less in case of the signal B. So here we insert a buffer here. This buffer will provide the same delay that was communicated by these 2 circuits. So this will be basically used as a buffer amplifier. It provides the it synchronizes the signals that is coming from both the gates. So this is the voltage follower circuit, that is a unity gain follower. Here the output is the here the output unity gain is unity. After that the summing amplifier is there. So summing amplifier we can see here, summing amplifier inverting terminal is there, and this is the inverting adder is there basically, or inverting summing amplifier is there. We have applied 3 voltages V1, V2 and V3 here. So all these voltages will be added at the output terminal, and this positive terminal is grounded. If these input voltages are applied at the positive terminal and the input terminals are grounded, then it will be a non-inverting amplifier. but here all of the input voltage, that is V1, V2 and V3, all are applied at the inverting terminal. So we can see in ideal op amp the current, ideal op amp does not draw any current. So here current will be I1, here current will be I2 and here current will be I3. So in I1 the current, we can calculate the value of I1, that is V1 upon RIN, and it will be V2 minus 0 upon RIN plus V3 minus 0 upon RIN. After that 0 minus V0 upon RF. So finally we can find the value of V0 is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3 and minus, and this will be RF upon RIN. So this is the final output in case of a inverting adder, and similarly we can also find out it for the non-inverting adder. Non-inverting adder means like we have applied all the input voltage at this plus terminal and this negative terminal will be grounded, and this inverting adder we will discuss in next lecture. Thank you.